Good morning, people. I hope this finds you well. Everybody is asking me what the 2027 lineup will be like in Kenya, and I don't have a precise reply for this. My cue is that 2027 is still a long way off. In politics, a period of more than 12 months is quite a bit, and anything can happen. But of course, we can cast all manner of extrapolations here and there, but we still don't know. What we are sure about is that William Ruto is going to run again, but we don't know against whom just yet. My reading of the local political space is that it is very fluid. The opposition is galvanizing itself, organizing itself. Are they doing it properly? I think to the best of their ability, yes. Are they portraying any sense of a political maturity? I think yes, to a large extent. Do the odds favor them? I also think yes. Are they doing all that is in their powers to galvanize this advantage? I also think yes. I think this election is for the opposition to lose. And they will only lose it if they do not capture the Gen Z vote. If they manage to, then it's theirs for the taking. In my view, I think that the Gen Z will be the determining factor in this election. I don't think the tribal blocs voting any different. Kenya is still an intrinsically tribal country. We are tribal people, and my generation and beyond are even worse. The so-called middle class is pretentiously tribal. You know, we can wax it in all the good semantics that seem palatable, but at the end of the day, we are the problem. My generation is the problem. The generation behind me is not inclined to tribe per se, like I am, like my generation is. Shedding out the shackles of tribalism is not an easy conquest. One has got to be intentional about why they are not being tribal. It is not easy because more often than not, you will be working against the tide and the grain. You lose friends, you lose business, and you lose money in the process. That is what detribalizing our minds can do to us. I want to discuss 4 aspects of tribalism in Kenya. One is professional bias. We have seen this in the recent past in the appointments of the president, and you get this sense that he is a gatekeeper for his tribe, throwing away meritocracy, competence, and even professional qualification. There are people, for example, who sit in State House as presidential advisors, and yet we cannot put our fingers on their professional achievements. The only qualification that was probably considered was tribe. So even in our corporate sector. I worked in the corporate sector in Kenya for a while, and I know for a fact that our HR policies are very beautiful on paper, but recruitment is tribally skewed. If the CEO is Luo, the HR is Luo, most likely the majority in that company will be Luo. And you find that I have an example about the East African cables. When Mugo Kibati was the CEO of the East African cables, I attended an interview at the East African cables, and I think we were 8 people, and out of the 8, 7 were Kikuyus. So that kind of showed me that I did not stand a chance, and I didn't get the job. That is just one of the many. In our parastatals, the script is the same. If a parastatal like KPA, KCC, whatever it is, Kenya Pipeline, is Kalenjin laden right from the top, then recruitment follows a Kalenjin script. And that Kalenjinization of our parastatal space is championed by the president. You see, if a president cannot be a scion of some non-tribal hope, then it is very difficult to expect everybody else to be what he's not. The president is a mirror of our society. We might not want to accept it, but I like to apportion responsibility. Yes, the president is tribal. Are we non-tribal? The answer is most likely no. And I'm talking to the Gen X here. The answer is no. We are just as tribal and even worse than the president himself. Now, the second thing is about our ethnic division in Kenya is the tribalization of our politics. See, our politics is so acutely tribal, and it shows in our voting patterns. I am very thrilled to know that we have a Luo MCA in Ruiru, and we have a Luo MCA in Thika, elected MCS. This then tries in a minute way to disapprove my contention, and that is a conversation I want to hold. I have not found any Kikuyu MCA in Luo Nyanza, for example, and I'm using Luo versus Kikuyu because these are the polarized tribal conclaves of our politics. You see, when you screen our county assemblies in Western Kenya, in Luo Nyanza specifically, you do not find anybody else who is not Luo. In fact, in Busia, I think there was this nominated lady, Kamba lady, who is married to a man from that area, but she got dropped at some point because of tribal pressure. In Kericho County, there was this slave queen who took up the nomination of the disabled. She's from Nairobi and she's Kikuyu. In as much as that nomination was flawed, she was dropped, amongst other things, not because of the irregularity in her nomination, but her tribe. If she was a Kalenjin girl residing in Langata, I think she could have survived. But she was dropped because everybody was saying, how do you nominate a Kikuyu here? And we have our women. And our means Kalenjin because the county is Kericho. Uh, it is very difficult for a Luo to set up business in Nyeri. In fact, a friend of mine told me that if you set up an M-Pesa in Nyeri as James Onyango, nobody will come to deposit or withdraw money in your M-Pesa, whether you have float or not. It is just what it is. I took a trip to Nyeri myself once, and I stayed in Nyeri for about 5 days. I had very good and bad experiences in terms of tribe. I walked into a pub full of old men who spoke Kikuyu and nothing else. When I told them that I couldn't understand, they were shocked where the hell I came from. And I told them that I'm from Kisumu County, and they were wondering what I'm doing in Nyeri. Am I working there for the government? You see, are you posted here by the government because they don't expect me to, for example, go and invest there as a businessman? They don't expect that. And if they find out that that is the story, then they will cripple my business, they will kill it. So that showed me that when I met the Gen Z of Nyeri, the younger generation, they were very fascinated by my presence there and the fact that I just went to Nyeri to see a predominantly Kikuyu society. Some of them have remained my friends and have visited me in Luo Nyanza over the years. So you tend to see the age group that is deeply consumed by tribe. The other issue is our distribution of resources. You see, the way our national resources are partitioned are such that populous regions get more money, which makes logical sense, but that does not mean that the marginalized areas are not vast and difficult to reach and could need more money, for example, for transportation and logistics. So to just to do a head count and apportion money by head count alone is not a very accurate way of apportioning natural resources, in my view. I could be wrong, but I hold the view that other factors should come into play. For example, geographical difficulties of access, adverse climate and stuff like that. This should count for something. You're not just giving 1,000 people less money because they are few. They could be living 30 kilometers away from each other and 70 kilometers from the nearest health center. You see, then they deserve more money for fuel for the ambulance, for example. This is my cue, if you understand it. So I think going forward, holding a national conversation, we have to think about these things. The other problem that I think we have is the way our counties were structured. Our counties are ethnic fiefdoms for our tribal governors. I think we should collapse our counties to less than 10 because we don't need 47. All our counties, none of our counties is economically viable. None of them would run for 2 days as a commercial enterprise. They will all collapse. And even in terms of national ROI, there's nothing the government is getting from these counties. Each one of them is behind in revenue collection, falls short, riddled by tribal kingpins. It is just not viable. If you look at, for example, a county like Migori borders Homa Bay. Migori is a somewhat cosmopolitan county because of the presence of the Somali community and the Kuria to the extreme east and west. What you see in Migori County compared to Homa Bay County is in my view non-viability of investment. You want to build a road that traverses Sirare border to say Nairobi. This road has got to pass through Migori, it has to pass through certain parts of Homa Bay, I think, has to pass through Kisii, it has to pass through Narok. So having all these separate tribal conclaves sometimes does not justify the existence in my view. We should collapse these counties and make sure that counties like Migori, Homa Bay, and Kisii should be able to live together. I don't see a problem. And if they can't, then they should tell us why. If it is something else apart from tribe. So we basically fragmented our country into tribal fiefdoms that, in a sense, are not serving any nationalistic purposes in my view, and that is the predicament of our country. So we can fix the elections by electing a more accountable president, but then he will be held captive by tribal conclaves called counties that will not enhance the agenda of detribalizing our country. For as long as we have these counties the way they are, I think tribalism is going to thrive in our national recruitment. It is going to thrive in apportionment of national resources. It is going to thrive in talent acquisition for the central government. Yeah. Tell me what you think, and have a great day.